He is a prominent Nairobi lawyer, arguably one of the best in land law and conveyancing. He participated in crafting the current 3 land acts in Kenya, also the first chair of the HIV task force in Kenya. He is the chairman of Gor Mahia Football Club, Dr. Ambrose Rachier. In this particular interview, he is going public about his membership of the Freemason Society in Kenya. This is NTV. My name is Duncan Haemba. Dr. Ambrose Rachier, what is Freemason?
Well, Freemasonry is a society like many other societies. I think the nearest I would equate it to is the Rotarian society. It is arguably one of the oldest societies in the world, coming from medieval times. Many secret societies existed, particularly in England, but Masonry became much more formalized from around 1640 and got very perfected around 1813. It is an organization, members organization, into which you are invited by private, usually by somebody who knows you very well. But our main objective is charity. If you ask me, is to do charitable activities to help humanity. But in the process also, of course, we ensure that our intellectual faculties are all the time interrogated, and we also just have something that you can call companionship or fellowship, usually by even having dinners and so on. I think that is the best I can say about it.
What is your response to those who say that it is a satanic enterprise or some sort of devil worshipping?
Yes, I think it's all about ignorance. If you get to the Masonic Hall, the first thing is this is a citation from King Solomon to God, that I shall build you an house and you shall establish your throne forever. It is reference to building of a temple of God. Nothing could be further than satanic from that reference. And indeed, Masonry is about building a temple. And that's why we have degrees of builders. I think most of it are talking from the point of view of Christianity. Yet Masonry is not based on any particular religion. We have Muslims in Freemasonry, we have Christians, we have Buddhists, and of course you could also have a few atheists. And so that there is no reference whatsoever to issues of devil worship, whoever the devil is.
Maybe if you could just break it down for us. How does one become a Freemason?
Yes. First is when you get to hear about it, and you are lucky to get in there. I'm saying lucky in the sense that unless you get to know about it from somebody else, you may never be interested in it. And in particular, with these negative attitudes that are being propagated by ignorant people, you will never hear about it. So somebody who is an insider, like I have been there from 1994, I would find it something good, something that you would want to invite a friend of yours. So I might say that, look, Mr. Haemba, I'm looking at you, I think you're a very good man, because it's about good people. You're a good man, you like charity work, you like helping people, and all kind of things. So I would tell you, Mr. Khaemba, would you mind my introducing you to this? Then I will give you a little bit of a talk. And after that, I would then propose, I would go to a meeting and propose that I have somebody who I think I should introduce. You are then invited for an interview. We talk to you about a few things. In particular, we are concerned about your family, what your family will think about you because of all these negative things. If there's any objection from... so it will then be announced. It's just like publishing publication for a wedding. So we'll say, okay, anybody with an objection. So it will go on. You will be there for some time that I'm proposing. It will openly propose, and we give time to anybody who objects. If there's anybody who objects, then you will not come in. And the objection will be somebody who knows you have negative character. So from there, you will, if there is no objection, you will be initiated. You will be brought in and welcomed and shown what it is all about.
Okay.
Right.
You've talked about being initiated. How is one initiated?
Well, we have got our own ceremonies, just like something like, you know, you have a ceremony for a wedding, or we have a cultural function like during circumcision. There are certain rituals that I may not be talking about publicly, but we do have initiations, as you know. Look at a rite of passage, say, for in cultural settings, a wedding, traditional wedding, Christian wedding, all that. So that is how the initiation goes on. This the way it is done when you're being welcomed into Freemasonry.
All right. You've said you joined the Freemason in 1994.
Yes.
How did you join?
Well, a friend of mine, two friends of mine, well, let me say a first friend of mine came and mentioned to me and said, have you heard of Freemasonry? He says, I have heard about it, but I don't know what is inside. So he took me through it, and then eventually said, asked me if I wanted to be proposed, And so he got a friend of his also who knows me, because you have to have two people, somebody proposing, somebody supporting. Then it was, I was then taken through to interviewed, as I said, accepted, then initiated, and I have since grown to be a very senior officer.
Okay.
Yes.
Public perception is that it entails oath-taking.
No, there is no oath-taking, and there's nothing wrong with oath-taking anyway. First of all, before I even come to that, you see, you are elected a member of parliament. What do? You take an oath. What is wrong with that oath? Nothing. I've seen recently members of parliament swearing. You are appointed to the Court of Appeal. You are sworn in as a judge. You take an oath. You are becoming a magistrate. You are sworn in. Take an oath. You are being admitted to practice medicine. You take an oath. So, I first of all want just to correct that there is nothing, you know, people really try to trivialize things by making innocent actions. You see, if you, for example, go to court and then you don't want to take the Bible, you do your affirmation. That is an oath. So, there is no strange oath that anybody takes in Freemasonry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that you've said, you might not give us in details on how to join, but if I may ask, how many stages do we have, and at what stage are you in? You've said you are now a senior member, but how many stages or degrees do we have that one has to undergo in the world of Freemason?
Yeah. The craft masonry is divided into three. You go in as a junior person and enter an apprentice. You become a craft person, then you become a master. So that is those 3 degrees. There are others that go on until the highest degree that you can get into is what we call a 33rd degree in Freemasonry, and that is symbolic. That is the age of Jesus. Good. I am now at 30th degree. So where is the devil there? I ask again, where is the devil?
Okay.
Yes. Okay. But it's different from what I call these ranks. You have to go through those ranks, and then depending on just your seniority and your activity, your performance, there's a lot of work that you have to do there to be able to. So it also requires very clear thinking to be a Freemason if you want to join.
Okay.
You need to you have to be a clear thinker, and you have to have interest. But we also welcome those who just want to come and enjoy. There's a lot of enjoyment in it because of the camaraderie that there is.
Okay. Tell me about why it is an only men's affair.
Nowadays there is, I think there is a women's affair in the US. They have started admitting women, so it is no longer a men's affair alone. But I will take you back a bit into history. Just ask yourself, in Catholicism, the fathers, and they're called fathers, they're not even anybody else. For a long time, you've not seen women in there. So it's just part of gender issues that really need to be addressed, and some of them just have their origins in, as I say, medieval practices, medieval times, and you wonder why women were disenfranchised, even in the US until 1964. You see, so these are things that we, as men, we need to address, and I believe, and I'm happy that the Americans have started addressing it so that there can be women Freemasons.
Okay. Why not in Kenya?
Well, it comes from there. I think you get leadership, and I would like somebody to tell me why, for a long time, we haven't had women priests in the Catholic Church, and that is a Christian church. I'm trying to divorce this idea that some devilish men are meeting somewhere to take oaths and do things that are not permissible. And just for your information, in 1995, I think as a result of these protracted debate about devil worship, I think President Moi formed a commission or a task force to come and look into Freemasonry. And I remember them visiting us at the Freemasons Hall. I saw some of my friends in there, lawyers in the commission, and we were able to answer them and give them questions. And I think since then, the whole thing has been demystified. In other words, all that talk about devil worship, we ushered them in and took them round the whole place and asked them to ask us questions. And I think that was a good thing to open it to the world for people to see what Freemasons do and what they stand for.
Okay.
Right.
If I may take you back, you said that joining it is by invitation and somebody has to introduce you.
Yes. Why
so much secrecy?
There's no secrecy. It's a question of trying to make sure that we don't have crooked people joining you. I mean, there must be. Today we have elected. We have appointed ministers. They are vetted. So this is like kind of a vetting of a person. There's no secrecy. It is to vet you to say, are you a suitable person? Sometimes we get people who get disinterested and they're allowed to leave, actually, when you find it's not the right thing for me to, or the right place to be. But the purpose of getting you is we are trying to build a group of people who are of the same, kind of the same feathers. So we expect you to introduce, if you think you are honorable, we expect you to introduce somebody who is also honorable in society. Yes. It is not a question of class. It's a question of somebody, you could be almost semi-illiterate, yes, and you will come in because we look more at the objective. What kind of person, You are a good person, that's what we want to call ourselves. And two, we embrace charity. I want to emphasize the issue of charity. Do you have views about charity? Do you practice charity? Right.
There's a notion out there that people join the Freemason society ostensibly to acquire wealth and power. What is your comment?
None of those, none of those two. We joined Freemasonry to propagate charity, and there's a few wealthy people in Freemasonry. Then there are those people who just live ordinary lives, like myself. I'm not a wealthy person, and I'm not a powerful person. In fact, most of the people there are just simple Kenyans. Some of them businessmen, some of them are medical practitioners, some of them are lawyers, and there's no discrimination as to what kind of person you are. What I can say is that there are very few politicians, if I remember. I don't think we have any politician. Some of them are judges of our courts, all kind of things. So it's a mixture, and the common denominator is not wealth. The common denominator is charitable practices.
Dr. Rachier, one of the widely held beliefs is that it involves sacrificing of close family members for wealth or power.
Yes, I had all that, but in my over 20, I think 94 to this time is almost 28 years, is it?
Yes.
Yes, from that time up to now, I have never seen a sacrifice. I have not seen anybody who has sacrificed anybody. Understand people are sacrificing their sons or their children. There is nothing like that. And Masonry is universally practiced. That is the amazing thing. As I said, if you go to a lodge in India, they practice just the same thing as we practice in Nairobi. I have visited a lodge in England because we're allowed to visit other places and see what they're doing. I've visited a lodge in London itself, and I just found they're ordinary people, and they talk about charity that we talk about here, right?
So you've said that you've heard about people sacrificing their sons and all that. Have you lost any member, and have any people attributed maybe because you're a member of the society?
Just ask the question again, please.
I'm saying you've said you've heard about people sacrificing their sons.
Yes.
Have you had any incidents where you've lost a family member and maybe people have thought it's because you are a member of the society?
Luckily, and I want to thank God for this. All my children are alive, and none have lost no single child. They are known, I've got a son who is 43 years old. He practices law with me in my farm here, and I have other children. I have suffered no death. Actually, in my family, I have only lost my father, my parents, both of them. And last year, courtesy COVID, I lost my brother who was 60 years old. So I don't see, not even the slightest reference to any kind of sacrificing anybody. This is a myth. It does not happen. I can say that it has not happened anywhere that I know myself.
Okay.
And it does not happen in East Africa. We have branches, and we visit Seychelles for brotherhood. We visit Tanzania. Like in this November, we are going to establish a lodge in Tanzania. We visit Uganda, and normally it's a great pleasure to go and also kind of do what we call workings in some of those places. Okay. We go and meet brothers in, we have a district of East Africa where we have a head, and we do these visits. I've talked to Tanzanians. I've not had anybody being sacrificed in Tanzania or in, yeah. So this is, I think, some loose talk by people. I think I can call them idle minds.
I see. Have you initiated any of your children, your family members?
Yes, I have my very close relatives are in there. I've put in many of them. Close to 20 people that I have already taken in, very close family members. But they have to opt. It's not like I'm pushing them to go in. So you see the contradiction. You bring in your son, you bring in your nephew, you bring in your friend. But now let's look about the son. Now, is the same son you want to sacrifice? That makes sense. Yeah.
How does your family take it? Because you're a member and you've
They
said
know it and they're happy with it. Because you see, we go and you come back home and you tell them today we are going for Freemasonry, usually around 6 o'clock or so. And by 9 o'clock or so, you had to tell them, please don't keep dinner for me today. I'm going to have dinner at the Freemasons Hall, which is on, is it now called, it's just Nyerere Road. That's where it is, on Nyerere Road. And you tell them, they know it. My children know, my family know that today Ambrose Rachier is going to go forward. And you drive there. There's a way we dress, so I also carry my attire to go and dress.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
So you know, this is, if you take at it, look at it as a society of men. Now, that is the only part that I want to apologize about, that we should shortly bring in women also. Because what we are talking about is a subject that concerns everybody else. And we have projects that we give. We would support school fees, we could support a building, we support an old person's home in Muthaiga and all that kind of thing. So that is what we are doing.
You've said about the meeting that it's from 6 o'clock onwards along Nyerere Road at the Freemason Hall.
Yes.
And you've said about there's a way, is it the service, how it's conducted, and you go there with the attire and all that. Could you?
Yes, depending on the lodges, there are completely different types of attire.
Yes.
Depending on the origin. You see, Masonry had different. It had one origin, but subsequently there were times in the 17th or 18th century when there was certain rebellions here and there, and it's just like what we have schism, what we call a schism in churches, where you start a church, and then there is the conservative church, and then there is an evangelical church, and they go on like that. So structure it in something like that. While we have Protestants as a different one, we have Christ is the answer. Then why we have some people praying on Saturday and say they are Adventists and all kind of thing. So Masonry is almost something like that we have different branches. Some are based on, like, you know, on nations or countries, like, you know, there could be a Scottish lodge, an Irish lodge, an English lodge. But you also go to France, you find that there was a lot of, at the moment we have a lot of Masonry, and we use kind of a book, we have books that we use for different lodges. So maybe I'm saying more than what you want to hear. So each and every craft has got their system of running the meeting. Yeah, and it normally comprises many things. In other words, you have a meeting, and we have somebody who chairs the meeting, and you have people in a committee. The committee meets a day before any kind of meeting. So if you're going to meet like and the lodges meet on different days. It is not just in Nairobi. We have a Freemasons Hall in Mombasa. We have Freemasons Hall in Kisumu. And then we have, for certain crafts, I think we have a hall in Ruiru and all that kind of thing.
Okay. Why is it that the meeting is from 6 o'clock, and how is it done? You had talked about the toasting, how you go in, how you dress.
We do that because of people go to work. We recognize that people go to people go to work, and therefore we think that 6 o'clock, and we also don't want you to stay too late because of family reasons. Masons are very good family people, very, very, very good, very, very responsible people, and I'm not scared just to say I'm one of them, and it's something that I don't regret. So the meeting of 6 o'clock is just to allow people to go to work, and then you come, and sometimes you see people rushing traffic, you know.
Is it weekly?
No, it's not weekly. It is monthly, almost every month, with and this is something to do with the British, with 2 months of leave, like or 3 months of leave. Like we don't have meetings in August and September and I think December. So those are for December. We devote it to the Lord. So those of us who believe in that, we go for Christmas and pray.
How is the service done?
No, that is what I will not talk to you about. It's not allowed. I'm not allowed to talk about it. Yeah, that one is I'm not allowed to. So if you want, I would want to propose you, Mr. Haemba, to come and join, and you will not regret. Then you will see how it is done.
But you have to paint a picture for me, the toasting, the dressing.
Yes, you can come. Now you can come and talk to me, and if you are interested, then I'll be talking to you on one-on-one, and you tell me, okay, this is what's going to. But again, we have those secrets. We don't want, if you are at the lower level, we don't tell you. We don't even tell you what we do in the second level or the third level. We can't. So that you get to learn. You have to pass a certain test. So it is not about ritualism. I can see that you are kind of trying to explore more about ritualism. That is not the important thing. What is important is the meeting of these people and to discuss matters of charity.
Yes.
And we talk a lot about that charity.
I agree.
At the end of it, we actually to a sadaka.
My curiosity came from what you had said. There's a particular way you go, the attire and all that. That is what wanted me to. I wanted. To
okay, let me answer you.
Yeah.
Apart from the Pentecostal Church of Christ and the Answer and the Seventh-day Adventists, who normally just come dressed the way they are dressed, for I'm sure for certain clear reasons. Yesterday you saw Olesa Pitt, Archbishop of or Anglican Bishop. How was he dressed? Okay,
the robe.
Right.
Yes.
Then you've seen the Muslims going to pray. They dress in a certain way. The Catholic Church, you've seen their priests. You have seen the fathers. You've seen the top echelons. You've seen the Pope, the way he is dressed, all that kind of thing. So I find it completely interesting that people would pursue how somebody is dressed in Freemasonry, while the issue of ceremonial dressing, is a thing that is in the public domain. It's like a policeman wearing uniform to go to duty, and when he's on duty, off duty, he takes it out. So what we wear in there, depending on what the craft is, just you actually wear a suit, and then you wear some kind of apron. That's what it is, and that is all.
Okay.
The apron is supposed to symbolize masonry, to building, because when you go to build, you do an apron for painting and all kind of thing. That is all. Okay. There's nothing beyond that. But I want to emphasize at this point that different organizations, the ones that are dissociated from devil worship, like Open Church and all these things, people dress in a way that is sometimes fascinating. If you go to near my place in Luanda Market, you find some people doing drums and they are wearing Israel Nineveh.
Okay.
Yes.
For 20, close to 30 years.
30, call it 30.
Your friends,
Yes.
do they know you are a Freemason, and have you lost some as a result because of the mystery people had associated it with the society?
No, they're very happy. Some of them actually joined.